Hi guys, I'm Laura Vitale, and on this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I want to show you how I make my breakfast turnovers. Now, by no means am I recommending that you eat these for breakfast every day. They're definitely a treat, but when you do want to splurge a little, or you have maybe somebody over for brunch and you want to make something a little bit special yet so simple and easy, these are ones that I think you'll go to because they really are basic. Let's start off with some of the ingredients we'll need, which are some eggs. I've got some breakfast sausages here that I have removed the casing. I've got some chopped green onions, some butter, some salt-free steak seasoning, a little bit of cream, and some salt. You'll also need some puff pastry, but that's going to come in a little bit. Now, these don't look like there'll be much of anything crazy and good, but believe me when I tell you they are fantastic. I have a large skillet here, preheating over about medium heat. I am adding a little bit of butter, and I'm going to melt my butter. You also want to make sure that your oven is preheated to 400 at this point. You're also going to need some sharp cheddar that's been grated, but it's in the fridge for now because it's really kind of hot in the kitchen, and I don't want to melt the cheese and get the puff pastry soft, so I'm keeping that in there until we need it. And now to my skillet, I'm adding in my breakfast sausage. Now you can use bacon if you want to. You can use veggies. It's completely up to you. I'm just using breakfast sausage, and this is actually turkey breakfast sausage, and I'm just breaking it up with my wooden spoon. And I did remove the casing. You don't have to, but I like to, and I'm just kind of breaking these up a little bit, well, as much as I can really, with my wooden spoon. These look good enough. I'm going to add in my scallions and let those cook together. Now, because I used turkey, my sausage didn't really render a lot of fat, but if your sausage renders a lot of fat, then by all means, get rid of it because you don't want that all in your dish. Okay, to my eggs, I'm adding in my steak seasoning, which sounds crazy, I'm well aware, but trust me when I tell you, the end result will be fantastic. And some salt. Now, you want to make sure when you buy seasoning, you buy them salt-free so that you can control the amount of salt that goes into your dish, because so often pre-made mixes like steak seasoning, they are so salty that by the time you add enough to really get a big punch of flavor, then it'll be, your dish is so salty that you can't even enjoy it. I've added my cream, and I'm just whisking my eggs and my cream together. You can add milk if you want to, but I just think these makes them a little bit richer. Like they really need to be any richer, but because this is for a special, brunch or get together, I figured I'd go all the way. Now I'm just gonna wait for my sausages to cook all the way through, which should take about another minute or so, and then we'll get going on adding in the eggs. I'm going to add in just 1 more tablespoon of butter because I want my eggs to be really buttery and delicious and cook in butter, because that's my favorite way of cooking scrambled eggs. Add in your eggs. And now you're going to just cook these enough for about 2 to 3 minutes so that they hold their shape, and you want to just stir them the entire time. You don't want to cook these enough so that they look dry, because remember that these are going to go into the oven. They're going to be protected by the puff pastry, but you don't want to overcook them because it can be really tough and rubbery. It is a protein after all. So I'm going to just cook these for about literally 2 to 3 minutes, or until they've scrambled, but they're still just a slight bit runny, and then we'll get going on making our little turnovers with them. Now you can see that my eggs still look a little bit wet, and I just turned it off because that's exactly where I want them. And now I'm going to add in my extra sharp cheddar, but I have turned the heat off, and I'm just going to let that sit just like that. I'm not going to stir it in or anything. I'm just going to leave it as is, clean up, get my puff pastry, and make our turnovers. I took my puff pastry out of the fridge, and I just rolled it on a lightly floured surface so that it was about 1 inch bigger on all 4 sides. Now I'm going to take my knife, and I'm going to cut this into 4, just like so. And then we're going to take a spoonful of our mixture, put it a little bit closer to me. I like to do this like an assembly line because I just think it makes it a lot easier to do. On this side, brush all 4 sides with some egg wash, which is just 1 egg beaten with a little bit of milk or cream or water or anything like that. And then all you're going to do is we're going to do like we do our strawberries turnovers or any other turnovers that we made here. We are going to fold these over like so. Stretch them a bit if you need to. It's perfectly fine. And then seal. Put them on there. We are going to seal them with a fork. Dip it into some flour and seal the edges shut. I'm just going to make a little slit on each one so that the steam can escape. I should probably use a paring knife, but you know what? We're living on the edge. And then I'm going to brush these with some of the egg wash. And I'm going to pop these into the oven and let them bake for about 20 minutes or until they're beautiful, lightly golden brown and puffed up and just gorgeous. I'm going to pop these in, work on the second tray, get those in the oven, and I'll show you what they look like once they've all are done and cooled a bit so we can dig right in. My turnovers were in the oven for around 22 minutes or so. I have let them cool for about maybe 10 minutes because they were really hot when they came out. Oh, they're so flaky and they smell so incredibly good. Heaven on a bite. Oh yeah. The eggs are not dry at all. At all. The pastry is really flaky. Now this is undeniably a treat. And that's something I eat every day for breakfast or even on a weekly basis, but it is definitely a great recipe to have in your back pocket if you want to make something kind of cool, yet different and impressive for someone for brunch. These are the ones to make. LauraInTheKitchen.com will have you covered with the recipe. I hope you enjoy spending time with me. Let me know if you have a personal recipe for breakfast turnovers and how you like them, because I will love to try different variations and maybe show them here on Laura in the Kitchen. Hope you enjoy spending time with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.